Manchester City's winless slump extended after their draw against Everton. The clash at the Etihad Stadium ended up being a one-all stalemate, while Manchester City's Bernardo Silva drew the first blood. It didn't take long for Everton to equalise. Man City still had the biggest chance to seal the match in the second half through a penalty. But their forward, Erling Haaland, failed to convert that opportunity into goal, simply re-emphasising what we already know, which is a disastrous run Man City is currently in. And even after failing to win against a struggling Everton, the Premier champion manager was full of praises for his team.
We had a team that defended really well. They are the masters of defending and transitioning. I'm really pleased with the performance we have done. I liked everything, absolutely everything about the performance.
Let's be honest, that was a poor game, a game Manchester City should have won. With this, Guardiola seems to have now completed the cycle of grief. Hear me out. Ever since Guardiola's relationship with winning turned sour 12 matches ago, the Spanish manager has experienced all emotions from denial, anger, frustration, acceptance. But the current state suggests delusion. Over the past 1 month, Guardiola showed plenty of emotions, but thinking his side abruptly played well in a dull, poor draw, now that's new, especially for Guardiola, the same Guardiola who scolds his team even when they win. Sure, they defended well through that match, but this isn't just a mid-table team who plays out for a draw. This is Manchester City, who are known for their attacking play, getting under their opponent's skin and win, a style that Guardiola himself introduced to this club. So for the Spanish manager to be content and happy with this performance shows how far gone City has. The same manager who's now praising his team even after a poor outing started off in utter denial, not even acknowledging City's woes. When fans mocked him for his losses, he defended it by bragging about the number of Premier League titles he'd won. The taunts never stopped even after that, but Guardiola moved on to the blame game, claiming his team was losing because of the absence of star players like Rodri, or blaming it on the injuries Manchester City was having. That blame game soon turned into anger, or should we say, self-inflicting pain. Clear signs that the manager was indeed losing the plot when he said he scratched his face because he wanted to harm himself. Guardiola wasn't able to digest City's fall from the top, and following this phase of anger and frustration, then came the phase of acceptance, when Guardiola finally took ownership of City's woes.
I'm the boss, I'm the manager, I have to find a solution and I don't find the solution. I'm the boss, I'm the manager, and I'm not good enough. It's as simple as that.
Guardiola even went on to acknowledge that City may not even qualify for the Champions League.
I think the only team that have been 11 or 12 years in the Champions League every season has been Man City. Now we are at risk. Of course we are. Definitely we are.
And while City continued to stay in their slumber of draws and losses, Guardiola's statement showed that maybe the manager is finally realizing the extent of trouble that City was in. Which was still a good sign, because Guardiola has a reputation of bouncing back from these situations, however few he's experienced them in. When his club is in trouble, he's known to have made a comeback by putting his best foot forward. But before that acceptance phase could transform into one of heroic comebacks, Guardiola has now headed into delusional mode. And that isn't good for Manchester City, because if a manager, that too of Pep Guardiola's stature, gets happy and content with such performances, it shows that maybe Guardiola has let his guard down. Because going by where Manchester City currently is, they need more than kid gloves to help them come back. They need a manager with a vision at the helm who can change the club's fortunes. But a delusional attitude means the winless streak will slowly turn into losing streaks because there will be no chance, as the manager thinks nothing is actually wrong anymore. The biggest example of that has been Manchester United. Following Alex Ferguson's retirement, the Red Devils thought that by drawing matches, they could sooner or later make that comeback, get back to their glory days. It's been over a decade now. The theatre of dreams has now turned into one of nightmares. Is City heading a similar way?